I wish all my viewers and my subscribers a very happy and prosperous new year. Let this new year bring happiness, joy, good health, and prosperity for you and your family and friends. Happy New Year. Om Gurureva Gati Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Gurav Paramam Shishurasmi Guruho Matirasmi Guru Mama Pahi Guru सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतः क्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेदमभेदकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकादर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तम् सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानदोऽस्मि नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् सर्वेभ्यः नमस्कारः. In my last upload, I completed till chapter 11 of Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavada Purana. We saw the primary creation and the secondary creation. The secondary creation was done by Brahma deva, and the primary creation, it evolved from the Mula Prakriti. And we saw that Brahma deva, he created the plants, the trees, the animals, the birds, the human beings, the devas, the asuras, and everyone. And this chapter, that is chapter 12, also continues to explain about the secondary creation. After created all this, Brahmadeva, he modified, that is, he created the modification of the avidya. As I said before, avidya is very important in this transactional reality, because when all have knowledge, then there will not be any chance for doing mistakes, or everything will go fine, isn't it? So avidya is necessary to perform different types of karmas, and only then this creation can proceed. So he created the different modifications of avidya. The first he created is the tamas. That is one modification of avidya. Tamas is hiding the reality. That is hiding the knowledge that each one is Brahman. I am Brahman. Maybe I have that theoretical knowledge, but practical knowledge we don't have. If we have that practical knowledge, then we don't do any mistakes, then there will not be any chance for doing any karma. So he created tamas for hiding that knowledge, that is tamas. And the next is moha. Moha is identifying with the body, mind, or senses. If we identify with the Atma, then we identify ourselves as Brahman. But we identify ourselves as the body, mind, or buddhi. When sometimes we identify with the body, that's why we feel that I am dark, I am very fair, or I belong to this region, this race. We identify with the mind, and that's why we feel I am happy, I am sorrow. We identify with our buddhi, and we say that I am intelligent, I know this, I do not know this. So these are the different ways we identify by mistake, by avidya. So that is moha. Wrong identification is moha. And maha moha is keen desire for enjoyments of the senses, sense objects. That is Mahamoha. The next is Tamishra. Tamishra is when something or someone or some situation falls as an obstruction for our enjoyments, then we get anger. That is Tamishra. Sometimes when we are about to go for a movie and some of our guests, some guests come to our house, then if that is blocked, our going to the movie is blocked, then we get anger. So that is Tamishra. Antatamishra. Sometimes some people go to the extent of that their life itself is lost by the obstruction of this sensual enjoyment. We can very commonly see it in the today's students when they don't get admission in the what they desire, or if they fail in their competitive examination to enter in the colleges of their likes or of the desire of their family, then they don't hesitate or they don't think twice to take their lives itself. So that is Antata Mishra. So these are all the modifications of avidya. Only by this avidya and its different modifications, anyone performs different karmas. So he created that. When Lord Brahmadeva created these modifications of avidya, he felt somewhat dissatisfied, not happy with what he did. He was dissatisfied with his creation. So he wanted to create something with complete knowledge. And so he created, when he meditated like that, before him appeared the four Sanat Kumaras. The Sanat Kumaras are the Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, and the Sanat Kumara. These four Sanat Kumaras, they were great rishis. They appeared before him. And so Brahmadeva said, Praja Srijata Putrakaha, go and create offsprings. Because that time this world was empty. So Brahmadeva needed someone to help him. So he asked his children to generate offsprings. For that, the children, the four Sanat Kumaras, they said, no, we are so much interested in Brahma Vidya. We were always in that Brahma consciousness of Brahman. And we know that Vasudeva Parayanaha, he is the supreme. And they always chanted Hari Charana, Hari Charana, Hari Charana. So they were so much obsessed with that spiritual knowledge, with that Brahma Jnana, and they were not interested in creating offsprings or helping Brahmadeva in creating other beings. So Brahmadeva, he felt so insulted by this behavior of his own children. He felt that my children, my own creation, they did not respect me. They insulted me. He took it as a great insult and he got anger. He was so much worried. He got so much angry. But he knew that if his anger finds expression, then it will destroy this creation. He was very well aware of that. So he tried to suppress that anger, but still he cannot suppress it. Bruvor madhyat neelalohitah ajayatah. It came from the middle portion of his eyebrows, and it came out and it took form. He was in the human form, in the neelalohitah, that is blue and red complexion. So when he appeared, that child appeared before him, immediately he began to cry. Savai ruroda devanam purvajo bhagavan bhavaha namani kuru me dhada sthanani cha jagadguru. He was Bhagavan. He had all the divine qualities. He was Brahman himself. Devanam Purvachaha. He was the first among the deities to be born. And he cried, Me Namani Sthanani Chakuru. Give me name and place to stay. You have brought me into existence. Now give me name and place to stay. And he cried like that. Sa rodaha. He cried like that. And Brahmadeva, Yada rodi sura sreshta sodvega iva bhalakaha tadastvamabhidasyanti namna rudra iti prajaha. And he was crying like that. Rudida iva bhalakaha. He was crying like a small child. And udvegaha, but he was in anxiety, in fear. He was crying like a small child. And so Brahmadeva said, everyone will call you as Rudra. Because one who cries always is Rudra. So he was so in a fearful form, always crying. So Brahmadeva said, everyone will call you as Rudra. And he gave some other namas, names also to this Rudra as Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritadvaja, Ugraretas, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, Dritavrata. Like this, many namas also he gave. And he cried for name and sthana, that is place to stay. So Brahmadeva also gave heart, hrid, as place to stay. Indrani, Indriyas. Asu, Prana. Vyoma, sky. Vayu, air. Agni, fire. Jalam, water. Mahi, earth. Surya, sun. Jantra, moon. Tapas, wherever a person performs tapas, he will be there. So he gave all these places for Rudra to stay. And he gave many other namas also. And as bonus, he gave many wives so that he can generate offsprings. Name of his wives were Dhi, Vritti, Ushana, Uma, Niyud, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Diksha, Sudha, Iravati. So all these are some of the names of his wives. So all these are his wives. So he now, Brahmadeva gave him name, sthana, place to stay, and wives. And he asked Rudras that, now I have given you place and wives. Now you go and generate offsprings. So Rudra immediately, not like Sanat Kumara Rishis, he obeyed his orders and he worshipped his father Brahmadeva, and he went and generated many offsprings exactly like him. Fierceful in form, so much of strength, so violent and so much of anger. Exactly like him, he created many offsprings. Brahmadeva, saying this, he thought that if this whole world is filled with offsprings like this, then it won't look nice. So he called back Rudra and he said, Tapa atishta bhadrante sarvabhuta sukhavaham tabasaiva yatha purvam srashta vishwamidam bhavan. Tapas adishta. My dear son, now go. Enough of creating offsprings. Now go and do tapas. You can go and do tapas. Tabasa eva badram de. Only tapas will protect you. And Brahmadeva also said about the greatness of Bhagavan or the glory of tapas as tapasaiva paranjoti bhagavantam adhokshajam sarvabhuda guhavasam ajñasavindate puman. Tabasa eva, do tapas, my dear son. Only by tapas, that the supreme being, Param Jodhi Adokshajaha, that supreme being who is beyond the senses, and he resides Sarva Buddha Guhavasam. He resides in the heart of all. He can be pleased. Ajñasa Vindade Bhuman. Only by that doing tapas, that supreme being who is so pure, who is beyond the senses, who is that Bhagavan who resides in the heart of all, he can be very easily or quickly attained. So, my dear son, go and do tapas, enough of creating all these offsprings. Rudra immediately listened to his father Brahmadeva, obeyed him, and he worshipped his father Brahmadeva and prostrated before him, and he went and did tapas. He went to do tapas. Now again, Brahmadeva, he needs some help to generate many beings. He needs some help. He cannot do all that alone. So he was meditating like that. Again, he worshipped Bhagavan and he meditated on Bhagavan Srimad Narayana. So when he meditated like that, from his body came 10 sons. From his mind came Marichi. From his thumb, Daksha Prajapati. From his prana, Vasishta. From his skin, Bhrigu. From his eyes, Kratu. From his chest, that is Rishi Dharma. Rishi Dharma is the father of Rishi Nar and Narayana. So he came from his chest, and Adharma from his back. From his eyebrows came anger. From his lower lips came greed. From his mouth came Vakdevi. And some of his other sons are Atri Maharshi, Angiras, Pulatsya, Pulaha. So all of them came from different parts of his body. When the Vakdevi, she emerged from the mouth of Brahmadeva, he was so much infatuated by her beauty, talent and skills. And he was so passionate about her. He had so much passion and desire for her. But the other children of Brahmadeva did not like it, because they felt that this is unprecedented, unworthy, unethical relationship. Because when we are so much infatuated with our own creation, then the rest of the world will follow that, and it will not do any good for themselves or for the others. So the other sons of Brahmadeva, especially sage Marichi and all, they did not like this behavior of their father. So they requested their father not to behave in this way, or not to have so much of passion and desire for his own creation, for his own creation, that is the Devi who came from his mouth, Vakdevi. So at one time, even Brahmadeva, he felt ashamed, and he thought of discarding his old body, which had all these passions and desires, which implies that he left all his desires and passion. And it is said that all the vibrations of that passion and desire, that and wrong thoughts, later became the mist and the fog, and that covered the quarters. So now Brahmadeva again meditated on Bhagavan, purified himself, and he, as we saw earlier, in whichever direction he turned in the beginning of the creation, because he was searching for whether anyone is there around, so he turned his head in all the direction. In whatever direction he turned his head, in that direction another face was developed. We saw that all again before itself. So from that 4 phases, the Vedas emerged. That is the Vedic vibration. From his east face came the Rig Veda. From his south face, Yajur Veda. East face, Sama Veda. And north face, Atharva Veda. And there are 4 sacrificial priests. There is the Shastra, it came from the east face, Ijya, south face, Studistoma, west face, and Prayachita, that is the north face. And the Ayurveda, it came from the east face, Dhanurveda from his south face, Gandharva Veda, that is the music, from his west face, Sthapatyam, architecture, from his north face. And from here, the different types of yajnas like Shodashi Yajna and Ukta, it came from east face, Agnistoma from his south face, Atiretra from his west face, Vajapeya Yajna from his north face, and the four types of dharma, Vidya, that is learning, came from his east face, Dhanam, that is charity, came from his south face, Tapas, austerity, from his west face, and Satya from his north face. And the four type of ashramas, that is the brahmacharya ashrama from his east face, grihastha from his south face, vanaprastha ashrama from his west face, and sannyasa ashrama from his north face. And the different types of knowledge, or that is the knowledge of moksha from his east face, dharma jnana from his south face, kama jnana, that is desire, knowledge of desire, from his west face, and artha jnana from his north face. And the four different types of vyahridis, that is what is said in the Gayatri Mantra, Bhur Bhuvaswa Mahat, Bhu from his east face, Bhuva from his south face, Suva from his west face, and Mahat from his north face. And all the itihasas and Puranas came simultaneously from all faces. These came out the form of vibrations, and it filled the entire creation. And the rishis, they decoded these vibrations and gave it as in the form of letters, that is in the language of Sanskritam, and that is the Vedas. Initially, it came from Brahma deva only, because these Vedas are the secret for this creation. So it was with Bhagavan Srimad Narayana. When Brahmadeva was manifested, it came to him, and then it was transferred to this entire creation. This Brahma, he is Shabda Brahma, and in his manifest state, he is Vaikhari, that is the manifest sound. And in his unmanifest state, he is Pranava, Omkara. And all the consonants of the Samskrita Bhasha, that is the Sanskrit language, came from his jiva, from the consciousness, the jiva of Brahmadeva. And all the vowels, it came from the body, different parts of the body of Brahmadeva. And the 7 music notes came from his body while he was moving. So all the different types of sound itself came from Brahmadeva only when he was in the manifest form. When he was not in the manifest form, that Omkara, Pranava mantra, was reverberating in him. So even after creating the Prajapatis, the Rishis, and everyone, Brahmadeva thought that this creation was not proceeding in that speed he wanted, or it was very slow, because all the things he wanted to meditate, bring them into form, manifest them, it took so much time, and he wanted to fill this creation, or otherwise it won't go proper, isn't it? Without any beings, it is so slow. So he thought and meditated on Bhagavan. At that time, it is just like splitting his body into two. From one side of his body came a form of a man, and from the other side came the form of a woman. And that name of that male form was called Swayambhuva Manu, and that female form Shatarupa. So Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa were the initial couples of this creation, of this manifested world. Shatarupa and Swayambhuva Manu, they brought offsprings, or they generated children by Mithuna Dharma. Tada Mithuna Dharmena Prajahyodamba Bhuvire Sachabhishatarupaya Panchapatyanya Jijanamtu. So this Shatarupa and Swayambhuva Manu were the initial couples who brought children as a couple, that is by Mithuna Dharma, and they had 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. The name of the son was Priyavrata and Uttanapada, and the daughters' names were Ahuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. Ahuti was married to Prajapati Ruchi, and Devahuti was married to Kardama Prajapati, and Prasuti was married to Daksha Prajapati. So they, as the initial couples, the first couples of this created world, they created or generated or brought offsprings by Mithuna Dharma. And what did Shatarupa and Swayambhuva Manu do after that? I'll continue in my next upload. With this ends chapter 12 of Canto 3 of Srimad Bhagavada Mahapurana. Shri Narayana Khila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.